So yeah, my name is Sophie, and I'm currently working at Rovio as a product lead. So I'm working right now on a new game, and I have, I think, in total now this year 10 years of experience in the mobile gaming industry. And before I moved to Finland, it was 2 years ago. I was working in Berlin at Voga, also on free-to-play games. With Funtime, and I started my career in Paris at Gameloft, so working also on not smartphone back in the days, but Facebook games and also Java phone games. And about my background, I wasn't meant to work actually in games. I have originally a business background, so I studied in a business school in France. And I was specialized in marketing and sales, and I started my career in big companies, consumer products, such as Disney or Philips. I realized I didn't enjoy that much, and it was just the start of a rise of game as a career and as a path, and I jumped in when I joined Gameloft about 10 years ago. Yeah. So I have an awesome team, but small. So we are a small team working on a new game. We are 6 at the moment, and in early stage of development. And I am a product lead of that team, and we represent a bit all the craft that are needed at this stage of development. So you have several artists. Among the artists, an animator, for example, UI artist, developer, and designers, and that is what is enough to make at this stage a team and prototype and test cool things. And yeah, the way we work together is very lean. We iterate a lot on our ideas. We own completely the game, the product, to say, and we have a lot of ownership, accountable for each other, and a lot of trust in the team. So these are our values and the way we work, and I enjoy a lot working with that team. They're kind of my mini family in a way. Like every day I go to work, it's like so excited to see them. It's yeah, I really like to work with them. I believe a team is the heart again of the success of the development of a great game, and this is where I invest most of my time for the success of a product. The team, so creating first the environment where they would feel comfortable being themselves, also comfortable to try things, create, not be right all the time. I think this is important in the creative industry. When you don't know what is new, what is fresh, what is great, that you're open to try a lot of things, and for that it takes a lot of trust inside the team. So I believe a lot in that as a strong pillar for what makes a great team. And for the other values I mentioned, having the sense of ownership. So it's great to work in a team where you have a sense of freedom, but using that freedom to really own and make the decision and believe what is the best. And be responsible also for the results, so understanding when it didn't work out, learn from that and grow from that, and then try again. So that's, I believe, are kind of I would say, signs of a very strong team. So I would say if I could separate two kind of competencies, there are the hard skills. So of course, whether you want to be an artist, programmer, designer, project manager, team lead, you need hard skills. So going to an art school, programming school, the basic. I would say for design and art, this is where a game experience is highly required, because it is a specific type of craft when you work in games. Programming, we had in the past, a lot of programmers who didn't necessarily have a background in games, and this is not the first requirement. And the second kind of skills that is a bit harder to define, because you get it by experience, or sometimes you have more of the natural skills, is what I call soft skills. So your ability to work in a team, the mindset of a team player, also the communication, It's great if you are a super, I don't know, designer that is a genius, but if nobody wants to work with you, it's a bit difficult to make a game, you know. So communication, being integrated in a team, having again the sense of responsibility, so we are all on the same boat in a team to make the best game possible, and we support each other there, so there's no one more responsible of a problem than the other. We try not to throw the problems on others, but support each other. So this is where for me, also as a person recruiting, really important as a part of the soft skills, the ability of a person, you know, to grow, to learn, to work with people, and be a nice person. To overall, if I have to say that, and it's the way to learn it, I would say, it's by working with people and teams. You learn as you go. There's nothing at school that can teach you that, I would say. It's the experience. So first, my first thought here is diversity. I believe a lot in diversity in teams, in organization, especially in environment for creativity. So, I mean, we are a world that has men and women, and when you are at team level and you have just a small representation of the group being there to create ideas, it's limiting sometimes the novelty. So it's not just diversity in terms of gender, of course, but it's part of it. So it creates a certain dynamic where you have different thinking inside a team, and this is where the best idea comes from, because there's a real discussion that can happen where, okay, is it the best idea, but did you think about that? And then we start to debate, and then we start to agree on what is the best solution. And I see this discussion happening a lot when you have different people in a team, and sometimes different gender is also what creates that kind of divergent thinking in group discussions. And the second thing is also, now games is a very broad industry, so it's not anymore games for gamers, if we think about it. And maybe in the past it was okay to have gamers making games for gamers, but when you talk about casual games nowadays, puzzle games, it's reaching a very broad audience. When we have, if I take the extreme, teams with only males making games for a broad audience that sometimes has more representation in resonates more to the female audience. Puzzle games, for example. This is there are some missed opportunities if it's only coming from a team that is composed by male, because you lack a perspective, and this is the reality of the market nowadays, that you need to have that diversity to create games for everyone. And I can see sometimes situations in puzzle game where I can see clearly it hasn't been designed by women behind, and there are some parts that are completely off, but I guess the team who was behind didn't see that, and this is where it's missing sometimes a bit of perspective. So, and I'm myself, you know, a woman in the industry. I'm product lead at Rovio, but I'm the only female product lead, and I think now that it becomes a more mature industry, I hope there's more diversity there as well, that it's not a role that is just reserved for male. I think the opposite, and I hope that with time we can attract and inspire more women to want to join the gaming industry and in leadership position. I find it great in Finland. There's a very strong community. A lot of events are happening, like we have a Ikita gathering every month in Helsinki, and it's a great opportunity, for example, to just have a sense of a community, how it is to work in games, meet the people working in games and understand what it means to work in games. So getting the contact and the discussions, what else? I encourage a lot also students or people who want to get in any industry to have a lot of entrepreneurship mindset. So it's not because you are waiting for something to happen to be contacted by a company, or that the job of your dreams pop up. I believe a lot using also your personal time to develop yourself, do personal projects. If you're really interested into art, show your portfolio, try to, you know, work on other projects that can show your talents, what you are doing. If it's programming, I saw a lot of great programmers who prototype on their free time a lot of things, and this is very impressive. This is that kind of attitude, I would say, that catch attention of recruiters. And when you are looking for the next talent in your team, this is what I look at, like the spark, the passion, and how it's translated really in actual work or something that was produced.